Why shouldn't that sort of action be a slam dunk? You know, if you're gonna take jobs away from this country, you know, why should you benefit?
Well, those multinationals have some powerful lobbies, but I believe this is an area where I believe I'm making a lot of headway in the Congress, and I think there is a recognition that if you take those tax breaks away for doing business overseas and use the money to hold down rates here in the United States, you can get to a rate where American business will be able to be competitive worldwide. In other words, if you eliminate some really inefficient breaks and you lower those rates for American businesses headquartered, you know, here, those businesses will be competitive worldwide, and particularly they'll be in the export market where I touched on making it here, growing it here, add value and shipping it somewhere.
When you devise that, do you think of a company like Nike, you know, born in your home state here and does business overseas certainly, but has really helped Oregon at times when they've paid some huge taxes? Do you kind of craft it to keeping a business like that strong in Oregon, but recognizing that what they take overseas, they may not have advantages for?
I have, and I've talked to all those larger, you know, companies. Like, you know, they're all paying taxes in the United States at 35%. I cut the rate to 24%, so I'm cutting it for them, you know, close to a third. And then you would have transition rules to, you know, make sure that if you have operations, you know, overseas, there's transition, and all that can be debated. But to me, if Oregon companies get taxed at a competitive rate, rather than today where they're the second highest in the world, I think we're going to do very well in terms of getting those Oregon companies focused on that export approach that, you know, I just outlined. I mean, the reality is our markets are by and large open to everybody else. We've got we face big tariffs around the world when we want to ship it somewhere. So they get hit with that, and they get hit with high taxes for doing business in the United States. And I want to make sure that the incentive is there for red, white, and blue jobs. Not just giving people tax breaks, to, you know, give them tax breaks. But if you do business in the United States, you get the break. And you lose the incentive for going overseas.
And if you give tax breaks, which then means less money for the infrastructure, you're saying you'd make that money up by having jobs and people paying taxes. Is that in mind?
Well,
how do you make up the tax breaks to build a new highway?
Well, see, there's no revenue loss here. Right now, under current law, there's zero revenue loss. You have only gain. Right now, an American business gets this huge tax break for setting up overseas, thousands of miles away. I take away that exact pool of dollars and I bring it here for American companies of all sizes who, when they do business here, will get reduced rates. Let's not fund it with, you know, additional kind of spending or adding the deficit. It's been judged by what's called the Joint Committee on Taxation to be revenue neutral. So there is no new spending here. It's revenue neutral. You're taking away what's going overseas and using it only for if you do business here in the United States. You don't get it anywhere else. And then, of course, my argument is that with the tax relief that I give to middle-class people in this bill, they'll start going into the stores and, you know, buying these consumer goods, and the employers will call up that person who's now got the tax break for doing business in the United States and say, hey, will you send me whatever it is, washing machines or whatever it is, because I got people showing up and they want to give me good money.